Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another great episode of Let's Talk the Business Spotlight Edition. And today I'm honored and blessed to have this fabulous young man on my show today. We have a little history now. We've been going back and forth with each other and helping each other out, and he will be helping me out. And I'll talk about that a little later on Tuesday. So I would like to introduce to you Neil Positivity. Neil, you want to say hello to the Let's Talk fam?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Regina, having me, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you. And what I want to start off with is the law of attraction. This is what he does like full time. And this is something I was introduced into. I was introduced to a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. I was introduced to this through my spiritual life coach. And it opened my mind and eyes. And it really, I see the world totally different with this experience. And I really love it. And I want him to come on here because he could explain it better because he's really engaged in this. So let's just start it off like this, Neil. What is law of attraction?
Law of attraction. Basically, in a nutshell, as fast as I can, I'll just say thoughts become things. Whatever you focus on the most in life will grow. And the best example I can give for this is whether you're focusing on debt, having debt or not having debt, it doesn't matter. Your focus is on debt, and debt will grow in your life just like anything else. So for anyone who's might be thinking to themselves, I think about bills, but it's in a positive light. It's not how it works. If you're thinking about bills, bills are going to pop up more in your life. And, there's a scientific way of explaining it. I can get into that if you want me to. But yeah, basically, that's what it is. Thoughts become things. Be careful what you're thinking about.
And I don't think a lot of us has not been trained to think that way. A lot of us has been given belief systems and been given ways from our parents and family members and people that you just engage with. So, when you engage with so many people that do the same thing over and over again, it gets part of your DNA, right? Because we all come out pure and then we dumped into all these belief systems. So deprogramming, I have seen in my experience, has been really hard. You think it's supposed to be simple, right? You just say, look, I ain't gonna do that no more, right? And you think that's gonna happen, and you're just gonna think about that new stuff, and you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna make it work. And your brain is amazing. It's really amazing how it holds on to it. Don't like change sometimes. It doesn't. What do you think about that? Because that's been my problem.
Yeah. Change is I think it's just for humans, it's just seen as like a uncomfortable, sometimes scary thing, and our brain does handle things like that. That's why you can't just answer questions right away. Somebody asks you a question, you can't. Sometimes you got to stop and think, because that fight or flight that's built in us might say, oh heck no. But then you might think about it and think about some signs in your life that may be leading to you taking that leap. And you should. For me personally, moving to Florida was a huge change. I had never lived outside of Camden County, New Jersey. And so for 38 years of my life, that was it. So moving down here was a huge change. But lo and behold, it's exactly what I needed to become that next level of Neo. So you definitely don't want to shut stuff like that down.
No, you don't, because thoughts become things. So we got to, when you break it down, thoughts is anything that goes to you. The first thing that comes to your mind, you think, you thought. The thought would turn into that belief system if you continue to think certain things, because you act on your thoughts. So whatever you do, you act on it, it's going to become true.
Yeah.
A lot of us think that we think about things, and even though we think about a lot of things all day, and maybe we think it doesn't come to pass, but sometimes it takes time, but eventually it will if you continue to think of it, or have that thought in your head, right?
Yeah, it's all about watering seeds. If you think of every thought that you have like a drop of water going into different flower pots, things I like about my job, things I don't like about my job, my spouse, my house, my kids, that last Facebook post, every thought you have is like a drop of water going into different flower pots, and majority wins.
Wow.
It's crazy. I wish I had known this phrase growing up, but you know how they say the whole grass is greener thing, the 80-20 rule and all that other stuff. And it makes sense that the grass is greener on the other side sometimes, But somebody had said to me in the past couple of years, the grass is greener on the side that you water, on the side that you nourish. And
Mm,
I'm like, that makes so much sense. Because if your marriage is failing and it's failing, and you start entertaining other people, other ideas, other possibilities, that's when it gets worse.
mm-hmm.
But if you really put the work into it, like you should, then a lot of times you'll be able to make it still work. So
That
yeah,
makes a
that's
lot of
that's
sense.
huge.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because bro, everything seems like now I'm noticing as because I'm practicing this way. Everything seems like it should be so simple. Like if you know you're having problems, if you're gonna either leave or you're gonna stay and fix it. There should be no middle, right? It should be no. Well, I'm gonna just stay here, not fix it, and just go outside of the relationship. And it seemed like you make life complicated, and then we don't understand why we keep planting those, like you said, dropping those waters into those plants. Because now you got to answer for all these pots that are growing now, all these flowers that are growing out of these pots. You got to respond to them. They don't go away. So now you got to have so much happening, right?
What's the worst part is when someone thinks their spouse is cheating, and they're watering that seed, and they're watering that seed, and they're watering that seed, and then it happens, and they start pointing fingers outward. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's not their spouse's fault for cheating, because that's not the case. It's collective energy.
Mm-hmm.
That spouse is also manifesting things, and so are their friends and family members. Everyone who knows you is basically manifesting in your favor. So side note, don't post bad stuff on Facebook. You don't want your parents watering a seed about your drama and people expecting you to be going through drama, because what you expect is truly what happens. So if everybody expects you to always be going through something, that's what it's going to
Ooh,
be.
yeah.
But back to what I was saying, I was talking about this yesterday. This kid I used to counsel named Timmy. He's from Camden, and he was in a bullying situation. And it only took me getting him to realize the amount of time he spent on getting bullied in his mind,
Mm-hmm.
and him putting the math together himself. Okay, this guy's always got a shirt on that says thoughts become things. And he keeps bringing to light that I keep thinking about this bully from the second I wake up until I go to sleep. Maybe I should change something. And he got it a lot faster than most adults that I've dealt with get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's real. A lot of people say things like, I'll start working on the law of attraction next week. And that's just not how it works.
But it's working right now. It's working.
Yes. Law of attraction is triggered by every thought you have, and it has no moral compass. None. It will give you what you believe and the seeds that you're watering the most. So be careful.
Yeah, and that's the thing we want. That's why we want to kind of bring this to light today, so you can kind of let the audience know that this is something that they may want to look into and see how it really works. But if you notice the things that you do, the people you with, like you'll notice it. If you see how you're thinking and you're seeing that it's happening in negative, it will do the same for the positive. Exactly the same thing. It doesn't pick and choose. It just does what you allow it to do, because that's what you're doing. So do it opposite, and you'll see the positivity that come out of it.
Exactly. And
Because it's
for so many people say that they believe most people believe in the law of attraction for the good things that are happening to them, but not the bad. And you can't do that. You got to own your stuff. You got to own your stuff. If you were stressing about that meeting all week because you were unprepared and you didn't have enough sleep, and yeah, your people weren't behind you, your boss wasn't backing you, whatever the situation was, all those thoughts, 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day on average per person, all those thoughts, and they all, think of it like this: every thought has a foundation like a house. And you could paint the walls pretty colors and put up decorations, but if the foundation is crap, that thought is built on crap. And if you stressed all week about that meeting, the foundation of every thought was that meeting is going to go bad, which is going to affect my money, which is going to affect the food on the table and rent and my quality of life and my sanity. That's the foundation of all of your thoughts for the entire week. And then the meeting goes bad and you're wondering what happened. How?
Right. Because you set up the house. You set the house up before it even happened. So you kind of walked in and the floor just fell apart, right? It fell right through the floor.
What a huge part is too? A lot of people don't think they're negative. So many people I talk to are like, I'm not negative. I don't even have negative thoughts. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You worry about how the world's going to treat your kids. You're worried about what's happening in Russia and how it could leak over to us. Worried about crypto bank account. We just, as people, we judge things. We
Mm.
look at things and we judge. I fell in a chair like that once. I'm not sitting in that chair. But every barbecue I go to, there's at least one chair. I'm like, I ain't sitting in that chair.
They're like, that happened in '85, but hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
hey.
so what? It was my freshman year in high school. I weigh more now. So, it's just us as people. So you got to first acknowledge that we are humans. We are going to have these thoughts. I'm from the hood. I still have hood thoughts. I just have conditioned my brain to catch them quickly and change them before they continue to be hood thoughts.
So that's the goal. Nobody's saying that you're not going to have negative thoughts, because your brain's going to do what your brain do. But your goal is to stop them quicker than you would before. And as you continue to build that muscle up, before you know it, before it even forms a word, you kind of stop it and then you move on.
It stops before you.
Right.
So you don't even know what's happening.
Let's talk about techniques then. So affirmations, like what would you do on a daily basis to kind of keep you positive?
A real quick cheat affirmation, one of the greatest ones I do, is I just say yes 10 times. We talked about this before. By the third time you say it, you're going to be smiling, just because that's just people. And by the fifth or sixth time you say it, your brain is going to be throwing at you reasons to say yes. Yes, like that celebratory. And so you're in a better mood right there. That makes it worth it automatically. But here's the perk. Through thinking yes and feeling yes, you just sent out a signal of yes, which guarantees in the future you're going to be saying again yes, which means you're manifesting a future where you're celebrating something. And that's what you want. A future where you're celebrating something. I told you I'd get to the scientific definition of the law of attraction. I'll get into that real quick, as fast as I can. When you have a thought, it travels down your spine and releases from your lower back like an energy wave. A lot of people don't know that. Now, this wave then travels across the entire universe. Every single thought, not just America, not just Earth, the entire universe. Third law of motion demands that every action has an opposite and equal reaction, which means the universe has to do whatever it has to do to you to make that thought travel back to you opposite and be thought again, which is the equal reaction. So that's why when you're thinking, oh man, my boss sucks, my car's a piece of crap, I don't even want to live in this house anymore, that thought gets sent out and the universe does whatever it has to make you think again in the future, my boss is a piece of crap, I don't even want to live in this house anymore. And then you wonder why why stuff is falling apart around you. Those type of mentalities, those type of thought processes. So yes is a great affirmation. And if you want to create your own affirmation, thank you is another one. Just say thank you 10 times. Set alarms to do this because you will forget. Remembering to remember is the hardest part. But if you want to create your own affirmation, whatever your goal is, and make several, whatever your goals are, ask yourself, what would I be feeling? What would I be thinking if I already completed that goal yesterday or a couple hours ago? And then you end up, saying things like life is great. I feel amazing. I feel healthy. That meeting went great. Like me, when I wake up in the morning, part of my morning rituals are like, I'll go over like meetings and stuff like that. And I'll be like, man, that meeting went great. And I'll imagine a future where it went great. And I might say it the first time and my ego says, that meeting didn't even happen yet. What if it doesn't go great? But then the second and third and fourth time I say it, now my brain is throwing at me scenarios of how it could go great. I'm feeling great, which means I'm watering great seeds, manifesting a great future. Yeah. It's a simple formula.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's easier said than done, though.
It's simple, but it's hard. It's funny like that. Like you gotta be proactive. Excuse me. You gotta be proactive to do it. Like you have to, like say, at first you gotta set alarms because you gotta get your mind set into doing this every day, and then after a while it'll become part of your DNA. But until then, you got to set up for success. As they said, like even eating, you want to eat better, you got to prep your food. You can't just not do it because you'll just grab something. So anything that you want to do changing, you have to prep for the change, and that's one of the things. So okay, so let's say you're doing all this, and I know one of the questions somebody will probably ask is, well, how long would it take for this stuff to come? Well, how long would it take for this to manifest? Do I do it for a week and then I'll just get all this money? Like, how did that work?
Here's the thing. Just like that pony that we all wanted growing up, if it's something that you're eventually going to give up on, The universe, God, whatever you believe, created you and is creating things as we go. I'll say that disclaimer. That being, that essence knew you were going to give up, and so you're just not going to get it. The things that you're willing to hold on to mentally, that you're ready to hold on to forever, basically until you die, those are the things that you get. And depending on how strong you are in your faith that you're actually going to get it, and how strong you are in the fact that this is something you're going to want forever, that kind of works in determining if and when you get it. So for me, for example, if I was everybody, I'd shoot for like 30 days for something big. I'm at like 10 to 14 days. I can almost get anything in 10 to 14 days. But here's the key. It's the law of attraction. It's written on a shirt. Thoughts become things. If you expect the goal to take a year, it's going to take a year. If you expect it to take forever, it's never going to happen. And if you expect it to happen overnight, it will happen overnight. Now, the word I said was expect, not want, not pray for, not do affirmations all day. I'm talking about what you truly expect deep down in your subconscious, which we cannot access, our subconscious. So you can be as positive as you want, but there's a reason 99% of small businesses fail. Because meanwhile, they're being positive to their family and business partners and coworkers. Guess what? In here, opening day sucked. And they had doubts to begin with that they were trying to overcome. It's those expectations that we need to curve. Once you change your expectation, you change your future. And these affirmations and things like that help you to shift the way your mind sees things, to slowly chisel at changing your expectations. But if you want to really change your expectations, you have to see the way you have to change the way you see things.
And how you see yourself.
And how you see, definitely how you see yourself, because events are going to keep happening. Drama, email, phone calls that are unfavorable, you don't like them, they're going to keep happening. But if you change the way you see the world and life, as they hit you, you filter them out and you filter them out differently. Send out a different signal. And speaking of sentence, just side note, I said that about the energy coming from your back, that thought expanding. It's strengthened by emotion. So if you think, I love life, I love life, I love life, I love life 10 times and you walk away, don't get mad at the fact that it's not working for you. When you do these affirmations, I call them hollow thoughts. They're hollow unless you strengthen them with emotion. That's why when you're going through drama and you're thinking a thought, you're strengthening it with that drama and you're bringing more drama. Same goes for happiness. So when you're going to do these affirmations, make sure you're really smiling. Make sure you're really feeling it. Otherwise, you are basically almost wasting your time.
Good point. It's a very good point, because I do them every day. And some days I have to like correct myself and really get into being like that, whatever, with the smile. And, because sometimes you just say things over and over again. Yeah. And you have to catch yourself sometimes like, okay, let me do it over, because that's not how it's supposed to be. Let me do it over.
Smile is the quickest cheat code.
Yeah, it's like I have to smile when I say it, because it brings me that you can feel it inside, that it brings more joy than you just saying it. So let's say that you're starting this affirmations, you're starting to study law of attraction, but of course you're doing it, but nobody around you is doing it. So of course, it's like how do you introduce it, or when you do it, how do you deal with people who don't really believe in that or don't understand it? Put it that way.
They say, and I kind of agree, that you're not supposed to try to force the law of attraction on anybody. If you present the idea to them and they reject it, any type of forcing you do is just basically you're going to be wasting your time. That's why they say that. So for me, I put the proofs in the pudding, baby.
That's right.
I'm real big on that. If you look at me and you say, how has G used the law of attraction? I'm gonna hit you with the big three. I retired when I was 28, 8 months after learning it. I got a Super Bowl ring and my pilot's license. Well, you know what? Scratch the pilot's license, because most people don't even want that. But I tell you what, I don't cook, clean, and I barely drive. Those are 3 things everybody wants. And I knew money was going to be the hardest thing to manifest, because it's hard to see myself as a billionaire if I've never been a billionaire.
Right.
Every time I say it out loud, the ego's going to kick my back in and hit me with my bank statement. Say, no, you're not. No, you're not. And so instead of going for the money, which I always knew money wasn't the root of happiness. I knew I could buy
Right.
you things to make you happy. I'm not naive like that, but I knew it wasn't the root of happiness. So I said, all right, since it's the most difficult thing to go for, the most difficult thing to see, I'd say second most difficult. The first one would be body pain. If you're in pain, it's hard to see. Act like you're not. But anyway, because money is very difficult to see,
Mm-hmm.
why don't I go get everything else first? Why don't I go get the situation where I don't have to cook, the situation where I don't have to clean, where I don't have to drive? Why don't I go get retirement? Why don't I go get custody of my kids? And I'll work on money in between, but let me go get them other things first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I did strategically, one after another. Pew, pew, pew. Just knocked them all out of the park. And
Mm-hmm.
so when someone comes to me talking about the law of attraction doesn't work for them, I'm like, what do you think? I'm special? You think I'm like some kind of angel in it? No, I think just like you think. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we both have thoughts all day long. I've just chosen to spend my time figuring out what they're doing, where they're going, why they're going there, and what the results of them are.
Good point.
Whereas most people are just going to work and coming home and cleaning up and going to sleep and rinse and repeat. So that's the only real difference. And so, yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding. I don't, I try to make it so I don't have to show anybody anything.
Right.
You want to,
Your
you
life,
want to,
your life
you,
is it.
yeah, you want to see what I'm doing? Go on Facebook. Go look at some pictures. See me in Miami doing some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
You're like, oh, you know how most people are like, oh, I see, then they want to jump on the bandwagon, but you still have, like, you could do it all day, but if you're, like Neil said, if your mind is not ready and right and you're not conditioned to think positive, it won't work. It may work for a moment, but if you're not continuously, being truthful to yourself, I think that's a big thing. So I know when we talk about law of attraction, when I start learning about law of attraction, the first things people want to know is, like, they want to, like you said, do the money. They want to manifest money. That's the first thing they want to do. Like, they think it's a lotto thing or something.
yeah.
And about love, like, getting a spouse or, a significant other in their lives. So let's touch on the money first, and then let's touch on spouses with manifestation.
Oh man. All right. So if you want to tackle money's a big one because there's so many different ins and outs. And it would take me forever, but I will say this.
Let's just give me like one little scenario, because yeah.
Foundation wise,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really want the money. I would say that. I know people would be like, "What do you mean?" And what I mean is this: if I were to give you, if I were to give you a credit card today that had unlimited funds on it, the only restriction was you're never allowed to spend cash again. You have to swipe this card. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be upset at that. You'd happily take that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cash is not what you're going for. Um, hold on to that. Now, I'm gonna hit you with another thing I want you to hold on to too. Everything that exists, you, me, this computer, everything is just made of energy wave.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, one big energy wave vibrating at different points. Your
Mm-hmm.
frequency is vibrating different from mine. We're both vibrating differently from this desk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so money is part of, since it exists, everything exists is just vibrating energy waves. Since money's part of it, money is already part of us. So
Mm-hmm.
for me to actively seek out something that's outside of me, something I don't have yet,
Mm-hmm.
it's impossible. It's a fool's errand. You can't manifest anything outside of you because nothing exists outside of this energy wave that we are all on. So once again, you're headed for a fool's errand when you're going there, when you're pursuing money. Now those are two like foundational things.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people would say that's woo woo, whatever, that's hippie stuff. All right, here's when I'm gonna break it down for them like this. Thoughts become things, law of attraction, all that good stuff. You think of money as an essence, as a being, and ask yourself, what is my relationship with money? How do I feel about money?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been good, and most people, I've been good, but it could be better. There were times where I struggled. Now, if money was a being, was an essence, and they haven't always been there for you, there were times where you struggled. They've never given you exactly what you wanted, which is $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship with this being isn't exactly on the up and
The
up.
greatest, right?
And it just so happens that how you view that relationship, just like how you view your relationship with yourself, how you view that relationship dictates and determines how the relationship's going to play out. So what
Mm-hmm.
I do is I try to love money, not the physical paper, but the aspect of it. The it's the exchange ratio. It makes me feel good because I can do whatever I want with it. Secure meals from my childhood. So for me and money have a great relationship. I love money, and to strengthen that, I tack on another exercise because I like the compound exercise because you get the most out of it. I take $100 bill and I just usually have it right here, and I just appreciate it. I just appreciate having the
Make the
$100
money.
bill. And
Mm-hmm.
I, one of the biggest things, because when you try to appreciate having the $100 bill, your ego might step in and say, well, that's the only one you got, or you can't spend it right now. You need to keep it. Your ego's going to come in and say all kind of things. But so you have to find ways to shut it up so you could sit in that emotion and be happy and water that seed. So if you're going to deal with that $100 bill, appreciate the $100 bill and respect it. I respect this $100 bill. I love this $100 bill. Respect it because it's the highest form of currency that you could hold in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Respect. It's the top dog. You got 20s, 50s, ones, fives, tens. It's the top dog. I respect it.
Right.
Right there, the ego has to sit back and let me sit in that respect for money.
Mm-hmm.
I love money. We can all say we love money and be speaking the truth. I love money. I love money. The ego has to sit back and let you sit in a I love money headspace. Do that for a couple of days. And when you find a $20 bill on the floor, or even a $1 bill on the floor, that's your stepping stone. I'm going to need you to pick that up and appreciate it. Yes, it's $1, and you can't even buy a Snickers bar with $1 anymore. But guess what? You just manifested cash. You got the
Mm-hmm.
formula, which means you can do it again and you can teach it to your loved ones. That's
Yes,
plenty of reasons to smile right there.
it is. And I believe in the energy of money is energy. And I'll never forget, I was actually I was at one of my homecomings, and I just walked outside. We were going to the car, and I just looked down, and there was like $60 just sitting there.
Nice.
So I looked, I picked it up, I looked around, I tried to, to see if there's anybody right in that area. So if it is, I was gonna say, hey, you dropped your money, because I didn't want to, if somebody walking up, I see them dropping their money, I ain't gonna take it. There was no one for miles. There was nobody out there with just us. And it was, like I said, it was a bunch of people out there, hundreds and hundreds of people. So it's not like a situation. But I realized, and at that moment, like how that works, how the energy flows, and you lose things, but you gain things. And sometimes you lose, because I just lost something the other day, and I didn't even think about it, because it was supposed to be gone. It was supposed to go to someone else. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, it's supposed to flow through, and you got to appreciate that too. I think a lot of time we have disappointments and stuff. We got to appreciate those too, because those are part of the cycle of you receiving. Because sometimes you're going to lose stuff to
Mm-hmm.
receive stuff, and the way you handle the loss is how you're going to regain the return. Is that accurate?
100%. I always tell people no matter what you ask for, you will be shown, if not proven, that you cannot have it. In other words, doors will slam on your face. You will lose things.
Mm-hmm.
Contracts, negotiations, friends, phone calls, meetings. And how you respond to that emotionally
Mm-hmm.
determines if and when you get it. So when that door slams, if you run to Facebook and complain to the world about da,
Mm.
da, 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 you're never going to get it. But when that door slams, and we've all done this before, when that door slams and you say, no, I refuse to accept this L.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get that car. I'm going to get that house. I'm getting that promotion. That is when we've gotten those things. And so
Mm-hmm.
you got to hold on to that. Something you said earlier, I wanted to key in on real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to talk a little bit more about it. It's going to be little things that happen, like you finding that $60 or finding something on the floor, little things that happen that people are like, man, I just got lucky. And they just walk away with it. You just totally brushed off the stepping stone to your next goal, your next desire. You brushed it off.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be stepping stones before you get to that promotion, before you get to that spouse. And if you don't appreciate them, The universe can't give you better. It can't give you bigger. In order to get a house, a better house, you have to appreciate your house first,
Mm-hmm.
and then the universe will give you a better house.
Gratitude.
Long, as long as you see, yeah, as long as you see your house as that stepping stone, it's just the next house before I get my dream house, you will forever be there. Go outside to your mailbox and look left and right, and you're going to see houses full of people who are thinking exactly that.
Mm.
I suggest you switch your mentality up.
Mm.
Let
That
me.
okay. Okay. Let me sit in that for a second. Let me sit in that. So a lot of times we don't really think, and I'm a professional organizer, so this is something I believe in. If you don't take care of what you have, how all of a sudden you're gonna get blessed with so much more? Like if you have a small apartment and it's a mess and you don't organize it or you don't clean it, and like because this is nothing, because it's
Yeah,
nothing, it's only a studio apartment. I'll do that when I get the my house. I'll clean up then. But how would you be able to show your gratitude of what you have to expect to get something bigger, and all of a sudden your whole mindset going to change like that because you got another house? Now you have more rooms to clean. So how you need to practice now when you have the smaller place so you can master doing it with the bigger place. It doesn't happen like that. You'll be overwhelmed.
it's like the movie The Secret. They talk about the genie in the bottle. In folklore, the original genie in the bottle gave unlimited wishes,
Mm-hmm,
and it was a representation of the law of attraction.
mm-hmm,
And it's exactly what you're talking about. If you are, if you see your house as just a stepping stone, if you see your house as ugly, as something you don't even want to be in no more, at that point you are manifesting a tomorrow where you're seeing your house as ugly and something you don't want to live in no more. The universe has to make you feel that again, which means it cannot give you a pretty house, a better house. It has to keep you either in that house or give you something worse.
mm-hmm.
So the genie in the bottle is that when you think, man, I don't even like this house. Basically, you just rub the lamp. Genie, give me a future where I'm saying I don't even like this house. And I guarantee he ain't gonna give you a mansion. That's just not how it works.
Right. You got to be positive. Like you said, right behind you, the shirt says it all. And then what's on your chest says it all. Thoughts become things. So before we wrap up, I just want to get into the last thing is the spouse. Using manifestation to produce a spouse or a significant other.
Same thing. You gotta see it as though you already have it. If you have to think about an ex, think about an ex. Whatever your situation is, if you see yourself as needing a spouse, you're manifesting a future where you need a spouse. So, yes, I'm asking you 100% to make believe that you have one and that you are happy with the one that you have. Might
Mm.
sound crazy, but you don't have a choice. I mean, go ahead, hit the bar, go back into the dating game, have sex with a couple people that you're probably going to regret, and take your shot in the dark and see if maybe you find your soulmate. Good luck with that. Or you can use these techniques that I've proven to work. This isn't just me. This is the most successful people in the world talk about these techniques, and they
Mm.
don't just accredit their current business to it. They accredit their whole lives to it. Everything that has ever happened to them, good and bad, they accredit to this. All of them, hands down. I'm talking about Dubai, sheiks,
Mm-hmm.
all of them. Everybody from evil people like Hitler all the way up to, Holly Berry and Oprah Winfrey, they all, Samuel L. Jackson, rappers, Big Sean, Kanye, they all talk about it in their songs, and they all hint at Alicia Keys, Mariah Carey, you name it, they've spoken about it. So it's real. And it's just like I said, it's probably the last thing you would expect to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for a spouse, the last thing you're going to do is walk around your house appreciating the great relationship you're in. But it just so happens to be that's what it's going to take to get it.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it was Thoughts Become Things, the movie, when they were saying that if you want a spouse, you need to act like you said, that one is there. Make room in the drawer for a spouse, like clean out a drawer for a spouse, or kind of move clothes over so you have a space to give your spouse space in the closet. That's how you act like they are there, by doing those type of things, and then you give space to have that person into your life because you made space for them, and so
And then
all
take
kind
it
of
a,
link together.
I was gonna say, because you made me think, take it a step further. I don't care if you got to go back to middle school. Okay, find somebody who treated you like gold, and say to yourself every single time you think, "Man, I need a spouse. I want a spouse. I shouldn't be single." Catch it. Catch the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up from it. Whoa, whoa. Neo says I shouldn't spend headspace here. And then think about that person from middle school, but not the person. Think about, man, it was great to be treated like that. It
The
was great to
feeling.
be looked at like that. To
Mm-hmm.
be desired like that was an amazing feeling. Because that's all
Mm-hmm.
you gotta do is sit in that feeling and then manifest more of that.
Good point. So put yourself in a situation that you already experienced. So that's easy for your ego. Because your ego
Yeah.
won't trip because it's already been there. Like those feelings are there.
And the
You're not
ego
it's not the
can't
person, it's the feelings. Not the person, but the feelings that you have with the person.
the ego can't kick your back in if you're saying things like, how would it feel to be in a great relationship? Or,
Mm-hmm.
man, it felt great to be desired like that, to be looked at like that. I remember the way that person used to look at me, and that felt amazing. When you say things like that, the ego has to sit back and let you sit in it for a second, let you water that seed for a couple seconds. And this is how you get what you want out of life. You can apply this to anything. That's the best part. I'm just replacing money with spouse, and you can replace that with your kids acting right. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the situation is, it's all like a universal technique that just works for everything. And it's easy on paper, but like we said, a lot harder to do. A lot harder
Harder
to
to
do.
do. Well, this has been amazing. I was
Yes.
looking forward to this because I wanted to, like I said, I was just introduced to this. And I just wanted to get someone who's an expert at it and what he does. And as you see on the bottom of the screen scrolling is all Neil's information. I was honored to be a part of his summit he had for this month for Law of Attraction. As you see on the screen, if you look up the website, then he has one every month, every other month.
We do it every month, but we are taking March off. It's my birthday, so I'm gonna go hard.
He's gonna go enjoy himself. So
Yeah.
in April will be another one. So please you well, it's on recording, so you go back and look at it and get the information and join them because it was a great experience for me. It really was. I learned a lot. I networked, and it was really a nice experience. So thank you once again for allowing me to be part of your platform. It was
Thank
really
you. Thank you for coming and sharing, and thank you for being I say a soldier in the war on negativity. Um, I will say this though, before we get out of here,
mm-hmm.
what is the demographic of your normal audience?
Mostly women. Mostly
Uh,
women, ages between
and
25 to about 60.
race?
Mostly African American, partially Caucasian,
Okay.
and a couple Spanish.
This
Different.
is, and I'm glad you said that, and that's the reason why I brought it up. I'm from the hood. I'm Puerto Rican and black. Okay, so I've been around the block. Let's
Uh,
just say it like that. In teaching the law of attraction to people and doing speeches and just doing videos, all that other stuff, I have had the biggest struggle with minorities. Getting this through to minorities has been damn near impossible.
mm-hmm,
I went on Podmatch, and perfect example. I went on Podmatch and lined up one podcast a day for a month and a half. Out of all of them, out of maybe the 12 black males I spoke with
mm-hmm,
or messaged about it, all of them shot it down except one. All of them except one. And it saddened me because it's like it was like this, back in the hood, back in Jersey, it's like this. Down here, try to talk in the black community, it's like this. Yeah, I just received such resistance. Oh, that's hippie stuff. It doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us. Listen, the reason we're in the position that we are right now as the underdog is because we are not using this the way they're using this. And that's the reason I make my summits free. So people have no excuse not to get on board and learn something.
yeah.
If we're going to make a shift, if we're going to make a come up as a people, we need this.
Mm-hmm,
We
yeah.
need this. So
Right.
thank you,
Oh, no
Regina, for putting
problem.
this on. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Please take this seriously. It's not woo woo. It's not just hippie stuff. This is real talk. And the people who are using it are excelling. And at the very least, they're feeling good throughout the day.
Yes, definitely,
That's a
definitely.
win.
I totally believe, and that's what Let's Talk is about. We like to empower, motivate, and uplift our audience, and like to give you things to think about and ponder. And we always say, you know, you take what you need and just get rid of the rest. But we give it to you. We give you different platforms with different people with different experiences and different things, so you could kind of think of new stuff. You know, we like to kind of introduce new things to people. Like I said, this was introduced to me. This is new to me, and I really studied it to learn for myself, you know, and let me make the decision if I wanted to go on learning this or not. But you have to make that first step to at least look into it to see if it's right for you or not. You know, because a lot of times we'll say we don't like it, but we didn't do nothing to look into it. So it's not,
Exactly.
you know, we kind of scared of new. A lot of us are scared of new. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's bad, or if it's scary or fearful, because some people are scared of change, and change is not bad. Change is really, really good, and life is about changes anyway, because we supposed to evolve in life into to the last breath. You're supposed to be growing every day. So just look at it and check it out, and if it's for you, it is. If it's not, at least you tried, at least you said you looked into it, and you
Yeah.
know, made your own decision. That's
Just be open.
Just
Just
be
keep an
open.
open mind. You might hear some things that are sound a little crazy, but just be open in life.
Yeah.
Me growing up where I grew up in the hood, everybody was giving me bad information. My friends would give me advice, it was terrible. The teachers would give me advice, but it was either terrible or they were getting fired. And our chief of police and mayors are always getting locked up from my town and from like my whole life. This is what it's so. When I hear information, obviously I'm going to shut down because I've been given so much bad information. For this, be open. I'm gonna ask everybody, please just be open to new ideas and new things, and I promise it'll change your world.
Well, they know how to reach you. So if they have questions, please reach Neil. He will love to talk to you about it. And if you have any questions on how to, or questions about why it works, or why whatever your situation is,
Anything.
he will be able to talk to you about it. He's really, really open. He's a nice guy, and he will definitely talk to you about it. So, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Neil, for joining us this evening. And I really appreciate your time. And this has been fabulous, fabulous.
Thank you. Thank everyone for listening. I love you guys.
Oh, no problem. So until next time, once again, my name is Regina Smithwick, the host of Let's Talk. This is the Business Spotlight Edition. And as I always say, I love you. God bless. And until next time, you have a good one.